Well, let's kick off the sports with the huge news from the men's basketball team. Coach Smith is at it again. Kansas transfer guard Joseph Yusufu will be joining the Cougs next season after being a key player on the Jayhawks for the last 2 seasons, including their national championship run last year. 4 teams have been eliminated from the NBA playoffs: the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the unexpected Milwaukee Bucks. The Kraken will take the ice tonight at 7 p.m. for Game 6 of the first-round matchup with the Avs. This series has been absolutely incredible, with the Kraken bringing the series back home after stealing a win in Colorado from the former champs. The Kraken face the possibility of moving on to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs at home. Happy 62nd birthday to NHL legend Wayne Gretzky. Hailing from Canada, Gretzky spent 20 years in the NHL as a center, playing for the Edmonton Oilers, the LA Kings, a year with the St. Louis Blues, and retired on the New York Rangers. After 3 straight losses against the Sun Devils, the Cougs look to get back to their winning ways. All right, huge news for the basketball here. There will be a new talent on the hardwood of Beasley Coliseum next season. Jalen Wells, a 6'7" small forward from Sacramento, California, my place, is transferring to the Palouse from Sonoma State after leading his team to its first playoff berth since 2017. Once again, Darcy Habgood is making headlines for the women's golf team. Habgood earned her selection into the NCAA Pullman Regional. Huge Game 6 matchups tonight in the NBA. First at 5 p.m. is what I'm calling America's game. The Golden State Warriors are hosting the Sacramento Kings in Chase Center. Sac, in their first playoff run since 2006, face elimination tonight against Curry and Company. Kings look to force a Game 7 to extend their playoff run. Then at 7:30 p.m., LeBron and his Lakers will be putting the Memphis Grizzlies on the chopping block. With a 1-game lead, the Lakers look to vanquish the hopes of a Grizzlies championship run. WSU baseball had an absolute field day yesterday out in Utah. Improving to 25-14, Jacob McKeon, Nate Swartz, and Elijah Hainline all hit yard in the 16-5 victory over Utah Valley in a game that was mercied in the 7th inning. All right, WSU baseball will be hosting Santa Clara this weekend, starting today with the first pitch at 3 p.m. Currently 22-13, they have the 5th best overall record in the Pac-12. However, being 7-10 conference drops the Cougs to 8th. Luckily, with 2 series coming up against the 11th place Utah Utes and 10th ranked Cal Golden Bears, these matchups should be enough to put the Cougs in the top 6. The NFL draft starts tonight at 5 p.m. College football players everywhere will be awaiting a call from a team to make their dreams come true. WSU's own Dan Henley is the biggest name from the Palouse heading into tonight. The transfer from UNR has had his best season this year in the Crimson and Gray. 106 total tackles, 4 sacks, an interception, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries are just the numbers. Henley has been a stud for the nuclear Cougar defense. He's projected to be a 2nd and 3rd rounder. Good luck to him and all who await a call. WSU baseball continues their quest through the Beehive State today to take on Utah for the first one of 3 games. Like I said yesterday, the momentum built up from the absolute shellacking they gave Utah Valley. Just expect big things out of this weekend series. The NFL draft kicked off last night, featuring some of the biggest stars of tomorrow. Bama quarterback Bryce Young and Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud went 1-2 to the Panthers and Texans. The 3rd pick saw the Texans get aggressive and trade with the Cards to select Alabama's Will Anderson. The Seahawks used the 5th to draft D-back Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois. Then later somehow picked up highly anticipated receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba from the Buckeyes. Heading into the 2nd and 3rd rounds, WSU's own Dan Henley is still on the board and is expected to hear his name called today. Sure hopes the Niners on the other end of that phone. All right, let's start your M&H Sports Report with a bang. The Seattle Kraken have tied the series against the Avs at 2-2 after winning a thrilling match that ended in overtime. The first period belonged to Seattle. Only about 4 minutes in, Will Borgen slapped the puck in at 85 miles an hour after a quick pass from defensive partner Adam Larson, taking an early lead. A little bit later, Avs defenseman Cale Makar got called for an interference after a very late hit on Kraken wing Jared McCann. This penalty gave the Kraken a power play opportunity, for which they took advantage of, as Daniel Sprong finds an opening and sends the puck flying past the goalie. With a 2-0 lead heading into the 2nd period, the Kraken offensive production slowed down. Mikko Rantanen went crazy for the Avs, single-handedly putting his team on his back and tying the game at 2-2. The 3rd period saw no scoring, which sent the game into OT. Once again, the Kraken took advantage of a power play after a tripping call, with Jordan Eberle finding a deflected puck and working it back into the net, winning the game 3-2. The Kraken will be heading back to Colorado for a Game 5 tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. And what a day for Seattle hockey fans. The Kraken claimed the lead in their series against the Avs last night in Game 5 in Colorado. The first period was silent from both teams. There were a few breakaways here and there, but no shots touched payload. The second period, however, is where the game started heating up. About 6.5 minutes in, center Morgan Geekie found a score from inside a jumble in front of the net, picking up the first score of the game. Just under a minute later, the Avs found the net, tying up the game at 1-1. However, take a look at this. Initially a blocked shot by Rantanen, but at the right time and place is Nathan MacKinnon, who scored off the blade of his own skate. The Seattle Kraken played their second game of the inaugural postseason run last night, after winning their first matchup with the reigning Cup champs. However, in Game 2, the Colorado Avalanche showed they are the first seed in the Central Division. The Kraken started out hot, owning the first period. Just about 2.5 minutes in, defenseman Justin Schultz finds the net after a beautiful pass from Eli Tolvanen. About 4 minutes later, winger Brandon Tanev scooped a rogue puck and scored it right under the crossbar. Second period is where the tables turned, however. Arturi Lakunin got it past Grubauer, chopping down the Kraken's lead 2-1. And only moments later, Valery Nishushkin tied it up 2-2. The Avs closed the door in the third period as Devin Taves rebounded the deflected shot and made sure it reached the back of the net. The Avs took Game 2 3-2 and will be traveling to Seattle for the first ever NHL playoff game in the city. It was a huge weekend for the men's basketball team after their win over Oregon 68-65. To start off the day, the team celebrated seniors Jack Wilson and DJ Rodman. Rodman gifted all the Cougar Nation, saying that 4 years was not enough and that he will be staying for one more year. After tip-off, the Cougs got to work at breaking down the Ducks' defense. The team was led by Big Mo in his double-double of 18 points and 12 boards. Gay now has 5 double-doubles in the last 7 games and 12 this season. Since 2019, the WSU soccer team has had 8 players drafted into the NWSL. Most recent was 5th-year senior Micaiah Manis to the KC Current. So having played on the same team their whole life, Roten brothers gave the brotherhood of football a whole new meaning. How are you not cold? I don't know. This last season, Jabe made 55 three-pointers. And he only missed 4 from the free throw line. Nothing. One of the newest upgrades to this floor, says Coach Trini, is a new set of bleachers right here behind the end line and behind the opposing team.
The 3-1 Cal Golden Bears of Berkeley will be migrating to the Palouse to take on the redemption-hungry Cougs for Washington State's homecoming weekend.
While it is unclear if her reign on the court is over, Serena Williams' legacy and inspiration to female athletes everywhere will forever remain. Reporting in Pullman, I'm Alexander Huddleston, Murrow News 8.
You know, when an athlete goes down, and the athletic trainers will fix you up. Thanks, Wes.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
After suffering a tough loss in the NIT tournament last season, the men's team is looking at almost a whole new roster on their lineup. However, with that comes a whole new set of goals for this team.
What's going on, Cougs? Alexander Huddleston here at Beasley Coliseum, where WSU just dethroned number 1 in the Pac-12 and number 7 and 8 in the nation, Arizona Wildcats, 72-67.
So, Alex, I know you went. I was there as well. How do you think the team did, and who do you think performed the best?
I think the team did very well. There was a lot of players that I feel exceeded a lot of expectations, for the fans and themselves. I would say Watson was a player definitely to watch. Lucas, both of them I feel like really increased their draft capital. And Max Borgi, I mean, he's running on a hurt ankle and still performed at a pretty good level. So I would say watch those 3. But I mean, back to Borgi real quick. In that interview, they did. I believe it was Gunnar that actually asked the question, or it was you, about as a GM, how do you present yourself? And one of his main things was that he's hungry. He's pissed off. He wants the GMs to know that he's still relevant. He's still part of the conversation in the running back room.
We will experience all the weather this weekend. I hope you guys have already taken your grad photos.
I have not yet, but I know people should be careful about when they take pictures on the football field, especially this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Avoid the field around, after 12 to 1-ish, because the Cougs are going to be playing their crimson and gray game. In fact, I'm going to tell you more about that next on Murrow News 8.